We did a Kabbalistic trick here. We transformed Chris into Tony. Hey, Tony.
Hi, guys.
That was our first big trick. Chris isn't able to be with us today, everybody, but you see we have Tony here, which is great. We're going to talk about Tony specifically is involved in our upcoming Kabbalistic retreat, and we're going to get a little insight into what's going on in the world and what we'll be able to do just between this small group of Kabbalah students. Name of the show today is Spiritual Connections in a Time of Global Conflict. The world, I got a bunch of messages this morning from a couple places on Earth about what's going on in different cities. One person was sending me messages from what they saw in the Bronx, in Manhattan, where a whole block of hotels was being filled with new illegal immigrants and getting new furniture and all that. And then I got some messages from Ireland also. If we go back to the 100 or so elements on the periodic table, if everyone just sat where they were and stayed where they were, that would have been one thing. But by smashing hydrogen and oxygen together and all these other things together, we got water. And smashing other things together, we got plants. And you keep smashing things together and giving it a lot of time to heat, to melt, to expand, to break. Eventually we get to animals and humans. It's inevitable that nature smashes these different parts together to create new stuff. As human beings, though, it's chaotic and painful, this smashing together of all these different cultures, these smashing together of all these different ideas without a good way of integrating them in a healthy, natural way to understand the process. It seems like the world is becoming less livable, even though we have AI and computers and factories and the ability to make everything. And people are looking, not everybody, but there's a group of people, different groups of people in different places who are looking for something, for some way to deal with this, to looking for something more out of life. And people seek out religions, events, retreats. I think Burning Man is happening this week. You guys know, I'm sure you guys both know about Burning Man. People go for self-discovery, whether it's with drugs, without drugs, but self-discovery. During the year, you live in like a regimented life of paying bills and going to the store, getting up every morning, going to work. Now you're out here and there's no money. There's no commerce. Everyone's being creative. Everyone looks creative. Like when you walk down the street, pretty much everyone dresses more or less identical. Actually, in most places in the world now, fashion has become pretty um, similar. You go here, everyone's expressing themselves. You get out of your routine, uh, and maybe whether through drugs or not, even if you went to like a yoga retreat, right? You're doing things to uh, taste something more out of life than the regular mundane life offers. Uh, what makes, well, yeah. Can you guys, do you guys in your peaceful little homes there feel, feel that the world is in some way chaotic and that people are looking for, that there's some people who are looking for something, some way out of this? While the world is splitting apart more and more and more, there are those people out there who are trying to come together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that the world is, you called it like splitting apart or, becoming increasingly divided, this is just, this is fact. This is social science, essentially. The levels of social division in the Western world are increasingly climbing and soaring. And so it's very true that more and more people feel that because more and more this is what our world is becoming. So I think that such events, any kind of events really, I mean, you mentioned Burning Man, but honestly, you can think of any kind of social gathering, any kind of excuse that allows people to sort of uh, relinquish their division or differences, even if for a temporary time frame, even if it's fake, even if it's just for right here and now, but the ability to just escape the mundane daily grind full of division to a place where, oh, I'm connected to something bigger. I'm connected to other people in some sort of a bigger thing that's greater than me, that's greater than any of these individuals. We're all connected to this bigger thing, and it could be a sporting event, rooting for. This is a huge thing, right? Like this is why people.
When you put it like that,
Hmm.
when I saw the young kids on campus in my town doing the
Protesting,
protests,
sure,
I
sure.
felt from them, even though they were so misinformed and totally ignorant and couldn't really speak about the topic at all, the fact that you're outside, like eating falafels and playing acoustic guitar together, I don't
Hmm.
think most of those
Yeah.
kids ever got a chance to sit on the grass and sing a song in their whole life. Like to get off of social media. So,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, these
Yeah.
events are they're a people are either looking for unity or they're looking for a breathing space from which to look at the change that's happening. But I think underlying all of that is the hope that there will be something that appears there that's not part of the mess, that is going to perhaps appear as an ideal or a breakthrough, that what is true creativity? What is an event and excitement? It's the visioning of some new possibility that can lead us in a good and in a better way. Burning Man is like this exaltation of well, the hope that creativity is going to take us across the borders of our perception and bring good. Or a political convention is like, yeah, let's all agree on this ideal here, and through this ideal, we're joining together to push through the best possible idea that is going to break us, out of the barriers that's causing war. And I mean, the underlying hope is all the same thing. It's why people go to these things. The problem with them is that they're so limited and so non-effective and made up of the material out of which the problem is made. It's nothing really changes except a breather, and then back to this decomposing set of ideals and approaches. But the thing that's in people's hearts, that need is the actual real need that is underlying the change that we have to go through right now.
Let's unpack that a little bit more. Like how would we define that need? What is the thing that drives people to subscribe to something greater than themselves, to go to Burning Man, to root for a sporting team, to root for a political candidate? And what there is some common denominator, some deeper drive there that I think is greater than the person himself. It's like it's a lot of people say when they go to like an event of sorts, that a lot of people go to, they're like, I had to go, like I had to be there. I just had to be there. What is that had to be there thing? You know? Yeah.
and I
Anyway,
think people
that.
actually have
Hmm.
genuine experiences at these events. At some of these events, I remember
Oh, for
being
sure.
young and went to even a concert. Um, it can, compared to normal mundane life, these things are huge. They could really leave a strong impression inside. So that's another layer to the question. Then
Yeah,
is
it puts us in touch. The number of people and the singular focus of what's going on puts us in touch with something that we feel is awesome. I mean, in the true meaning of the word awesome. Something profound, awesome, and good, filled with pleasure, and certainly with undefinable sense of hope, a possibility. The problem, of course, is that they don't necessarily build anything. So we raise our hopes, and then we may be slightly changed by that when we come back into our normal lives, but we're not in that environment anymore, and we don't see the elements of it anywhere really in our lives. It was only there at the event. So this feeling of something truly great and good really recedes because we didn't learn what to do with it in that event. We exposed ourselves to something beautiful and poetic and profound, but we have no means of holding on to it or doing something else with it.
Okay, so a concert, I'm with you so far. I just want to dissect this piece by piece. So a concert, you go to a Coldplay concert in Barcelona, and there's 30,000
Could you pick another
people.
band?
I'm just trying to think of who can sell out,
Okay.
tens of thousands of seats. So you go to some concert somewhere where they sell tens of thousands of seats, and at the Coldplay event, for example, everyone gets a bracelet, like an LED bracelet that's controlled by the
Seth,
lighting
what's the
guy.
last time you've been to a Coldplay event?
I saw a picture. I've never been to a Coldplay thing, but I saw a video about it. That the guy, some lighting guy, controls everyone's bracelets. So the whole crowd is pulsing in these colors.
Oh,
everyone is
gotcha.
participating. Everyone is singing. You have to feel.
Sure, it's like a
this
flock of
unbelievable-
birds navigating together perfectly.
Right. Okay, so that's one thing. They go home though. They don't have any tools. Got it. Okay, they tasted something. That's a start. They tasted some unity. It's a start. But now you also have a Tony Robbins event, or you have a yoga weekend, or you have a mindfulness weekend where you go and you learn how to navigate the stress of life, and you get tools. You do workshops, you sit around, you do little breakout rooms, you learn what to do when stress arises, you learn how to deal with the problems of life. You have different practices. That's something else. So now you do go home with something.
Sure.
Okay, so what's the limitation? I want to keep going
Well,
through
the
these
difference
different
is
layers.
that you're going to Tony Robbins for medicinal purposes, like so, you're coming out with a prescription that deals with something that's happening. Kind of, it's sort of psychological, and it helps you certainly, but that feeling of exposure to an awesome truth that you can get, from art or from a very large gathering, needs to be what you're seeking for before you're going to be able to learn anything about it. If we're looking for something that is going to make me not sweat so much when I got to talk to my boss, that's a very different thing. That desire, even the desire to fix yourself in some way and to be able to perform better and all of that, it's all leading to this thing. But right now, if we're looking at this stuff in relation to the world, there's a real need, like something that's got to be solved now. We have to, like you said, the immigration thing, it's not even immigration, whatever you want to call the thing. The complete intermixture of everything and everybody, we have to understand what that is. We have to be able to bring order to it. And that's what's really the desire in our heart. We want to understand the nature of the reality that we're living in. We want to have a good life, and we want to be able to affect it in a really good way. So if we're dealing with something as so unbounded, as all people totally equal and everything connected everywhere, then we really, in our heart of hearts, want the ability to live in a world like that. So, and I guess that brings me to what the retreat is. This event that this group of friends puts together on an annual basis, and it's to provide an experience of how to live in that state, in the world that's coming, the one that we're evolving into. The the rules by which nature organizes human experience, and by following these things, I mean living it, on a daily basis, in a real way amongst people, in a kind of a little. Our retreat is like it's like a village. It's kind of like a summer camp, but it's like you're doing everything that you actually do in life, except you're doing it on a deeper and higher level. So the sense of the awesome connection with people and with something greater is already there. You're already sort of pulled away from the way that the world that we're living in now structures, or maybe it's better to say it has completely unstructured social relations and all of that. And a person learns how nature works with us, and we learn to do those very same principles in relation to other people, which makes it really real. So all of this, the awesome depth and profundity that one can feel through the exposure to the knowing the laws of nature, are given to the people who go there in a way that they can live it, take it out, and use it in the world, not just for them to feel good, but to actually change the world, because they're working in the control room of how reality evolves. It's the place.
You really piqued my interest here. So people are going to do something spiritually or something together, and it's going to affect the whole world somehow. How are you bridging that gap?
Well, we have a big misunderstanding about what enlightenment is. What a good world is, and what an enlightened person is, or an enlightened society is. And we think about it as a bunch of people, individuals with their lights turned on, and they become enlightened, and then they come together. But that's not how it works, and nothing changes that way. The topic of our the thing that people are going to be learning about, and the whole structure of this that ends up changing things, is from love of others to enlightenment. Actually what happens is that the connection between people can reflect the law of nature. That is a complete and total concern for the whole system and all that. And it's not some kind of abstract thing. It's a thing that you can find between you and another person, and also between you and many other people. A change that happens in the heart in that way, in a natural way, in which we're relating to people, goes to the very core of the law of nature. And it's meant to be expressed that way. So when people do this, they begin to understand and feel what complete enlightenment, like access to the entire system, really is, where the door is to that thing, and how to actually live it. And since that is the core of the law of nature,
Which law of nature?
To care for the whole of everything without a concern for the self, so that everything is taken care of, and so am I, basically. So it'll order society, it ends wars, but if nobody's thinking about that, and if nobody's working on that specifically, and aligning with that thought or law, then nothing is going to change in the world. If only a few people are, it can begin to change absolutely everything. Because what happens is these people, as a group, become changed. A greater degree of what nature wants to give is unblocked and comes to the world. And it's doing it through the thing we want the most. It's doing it through love and connection with other people, which is actually the essence of life.
Okay, wait a second. I want to go on a bit of a tangent here, so we can, grasp this
You
more.
mean pull me back from my tangent and let's go with your tangent.
Another one. more like to add on top. Here's the thing. We were talking about a whole bunch of examples before, right? Even a political rally, a Burning Man, a sporting event, a musical concert. In all those examples, people are using the same kind of network. There is a network that connects
they're
human
not,
beings.
They're not using it. They're being
there you
used
go.
by.
Exactly where I wanted to go. So there's a difference between those events and a Kabbalistic gathering, but the network is the same network, except that in a Kabbalistic gathering, you come to proactively, intentionally, consciously use that network. The thing that we're doing is the same thing that the mechanism and the goal are the same. When you go to a Tony Robbins event, right, that you mentioned, so there's an effect that happens by a few thousand people being together and so forth, but the goal is to improve your individual life, make your business better, be a better husband, whatever it is. When you go to a musical concert, you feel that vibe when they do that thing you said, Seth, with the bracelet and whatever, and you feel like you're connected to something greater than yourself. But the goal is to worship the artists and the music, enjoy, and then you get home and you want to come. You build your desire to come to another event like that, but you don't have anything to work with, and so. In a Kabbalistic gathering, it's the same network that connects human beings, but here we're like addressing it head on. We're working with it directly.
Why did all of the communes not work out? Because you had people, for example, in the kibbutzes or the communes of the 60s and 70s here in the U.S. It probably existed in many places where people intentionally got together and decided they wanted to build a life. I'm going to do this. You're going to do that part. Let's all share everything. Forget about capitalism, or forget about one person that have too much of the means of production and someone having too little. We're going to do it. We're going to share everything. We're going to all work together. That sounds also like people getting together. Nature can provide
I
everything.
would say, okay, nice. That's a good way to explain the difference here. I would say that in these examples, people weren't trained to use the power of the network. That's the whole problem. It's just a theoretical, let's all share and be equal and so forth. Yeah.
There's actual laws of the network then that need to also be learned in order to do this.
Laws and I would say energy, power. There's true power there that we need to learn how to extract, how to harness and harvest that. It's there.
Yes, because if people are going in order to bring benefit, first of all, to be the way, to act in such a way that they realize that this action is in alignment with something great, with something, the most powerful thing, and that the reason that we're doing it is in order to bring about good, specifically to the world and to all the people in it, then the coming together of those people, the connection of those people, opens up something that would not be opened up unconsciously. And it's not just vague, it's not just let's be nice to each other. It is completely aligned with revealed laws of nature that come from the ancient wisdom. So we know, but the point is, you can know these things, but unless you both know what you're aiming at and also are attempting to do that, it doesn't attract any of that spiritual force. What?
I said, say it. I wanted to hear Kabbalistic terms.
Well, it doesn't attract the spiritual force. We get what we're asking for, and this conscious involvement with an intention that is the same intention behind the purpose of our life, and that is revealed to a person who does this work, both before, during, and especially during, where one sees these things in action in the way that we're connecting with each other, the naturalness of it, and the resulting change in perception of reality is like unquestionable. So instead of it being an artist on stage that's blowing us away, it is the people that you're relating with that are revealing in this connection incredible beauty, poetry of the law of nature and what exists between people, and you see the absolute possibility that life can actually be this way, because you see other people doing it, and there's a kind of a guidance that comes in just because there's like the wisdom of the crowd, that thing where you're working with people only for that connection. Things appear there that you think you're brilliant, or you see that your friends are, that there's something that's appearing there that knows how to run a society in a way where everybody's fulfilled.
Do you have this certain kind of intent? Oh, go ahead. Asaf.
Yeah, I want to sit on this juxtaposition for a second, just because I think it's really eye-opening. When you participate in a concert, right? Why wouldn't you just, if you were invited to a private performance of whatever it is, Coldplay, you said, so Coldplay. So it's just you. Seth Brightman is now invited. And they're whatever it is. They come to your living room, and what's the difference between that and doing it with 50,000 people? There's a huge difference. There's a big, big difference. There is something that human beings unconsciously, not even thinking about, they get from that network. And here, in our case, in a Kabbalistic gathering, in that context, we're talking about getting that thing consciously, directly, not by the way, not, just going for it, going for that thing that exists between people, which is greater than the self, greater than the individual.
What is that thing that exists between people that can be felt? Because hold on a second.
Yeah.
You could feel it at the World Cup. You could feel it at the Coldplay concert. You could feel it, at the political rally. So what is that thing? And then the next thing is, so then what are these laws of nature? Are you talking about using that thing that's present there? Is that the
Yeah, that thing is the fact that there really aren't billions of people. That there is a wholeness to the system and a pre-existing, already existing, complete interconnection of things that is just concealed from us. And it makes us unhappy. And it ruins things. And when we're in situations like that, and we're all chanting the same football chant, or we're singing the same lyric, or we get a whiff of that perfume. We feel the complete rightness and wholeness of it to some degree.
You can see people crying, like after their team scores a goal in one of those games, like the crowd erupts, you feel cheered, like watching your child get married or something. I mean, people have like these incredible experiences at a sporting event because everybody like feels this thing together. It's incredible to watch.
Well, if you want a team to win, you've got this utter need, like just empty, like hungry for that goal. You want to see it, and so does everybody else in the stands, and the guys playing. Everybody is sharing this desire. It's an unbelievable desire, magnified by the number of people. And then compared to it, this little ball goes into a goal, and that fills the entire desire With what? With the ball? If the ball had to fall into that desire, it would like fall for like a year, through dark space, till boing, boing, boing at the bottom of the vessel. That's not the thing that fulfilled us.
Yeah.
It's this huge shared desire that got filled by the joy of everybody else at that moment. You didn't just feel your own joy, you felt everybody's joy. You saw how complete fulfillment can be when it's not just yours.
And the same thing happens when it's like, singing the same thing, or when it's like, oh, we're listening to our political candidate and we're all cheering, yes, he said that, slogan or whatever. It's the same thing. It's not the thing itself. It's the magnification of the desire and its fulfillment that happens through the network. It's just that in all of those examples, those daily examples, people don't know what it is that's really happening to them.
Okay, so when the ball, like for example, if the ball just goes into the net and nobody's there, like nothing happens.
Right.
The same ball goes in and there's nothing felt anywhere. But if the ball goes in at the right moment and everyone is the same exact thing that happens, but everyone's the circumstances, this incredible energy explodes out of
right. And so imagine if the thing that you wanted, that this large group of people wanted, was a conscious understanding of that connection about the well-being of everybody, regardless of whether it's a football game or whatever, across all human society and all human interactions. And every good that happened to a person because you shared the same vessel would be like that goal. Imagine what would be made if that was done consciously. And it doesn't even take a lot of people. That force, that's the thing that's like nature. Nature is like that. Therefore, the law is for anybody scoring a goal anywhere that they really need and would bring them pleasure. It's like you'd be like cheering, from morning to night. That's how nature works. Now, if we learn to feel that, which is probably the most hidden thing to us,
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so I would say it's so hidden because it's so everywhere. You know what I mean? It's the Marshall McLuhan thing. The last thing a fish would notice in its environment is the water. It is so pervasive that it's hidden in plain sight. The power of the network. How would you call it, Tony?
It's because it's hidden. You made our point. We're right in front of you. Hey. The complete interconnection and dependence on each other, and the place where joy actually exists.
So the retreat, the KabU Retreat, which we're talking about, which is happening in a week or whatever.
Yeah.
It's almost as if we are just like buffing out the dirt and revealing the connection. That's like it's as if the friends sit down around a table, right? And there's like these rays of light between all of their hearts, and then we're each given like these sanding blocks or whatever to just clean off the stuff to reveal that goal being scored is just always happening between us.
Yes, it's revelation.
Nice.
It creates the ability to not just understand, but to see and to feel what that is, not as an idea, but as the way that we actually perceive things, and as a way of life. It's presented. It comes to a person. The more you clean off and this is revealed, the more confidence we all feel, because we're seeing the same thing that was just hidden before, just a moment before. We're all seeing that there is this unity, that there is a way to live for the well-being of the whole system, and that we're not separated, and everything that's good comes from strengthening that connection for that purpose. My cat always has something to say. Whenever I talk to people into the computer, she comes out and also says things.
Um, I want us to talk about another aspect of this, and that is this thing Tony just talked about. The world needs this so bad. People need this. Human society needs this. We're not really aware that this is something that we all need, but it is. This is this feeling and this underlying basis, shared common basis between us, that we're all connected. That is something that is so critically missing in all our human systems, in all our societies. It's missing in how we run the world, and I think in our time it's becoming increasingly needed, because on the other hand, we are becoming more interdependent. So it's almost like reality is trying to push us towards this awakening, this insight, this realization that there's a network, and it's like nature is saying, look, you're all connected, and this connection
when
between
you say
you.
reality is pushing us, whoever's behind whatever's going on by importing people from all of these countries. Like there's in Aurora, Colorado, I saw a news story yesterday. The town is filled with Venezuelan gangsters now, like who came over. Like they literally, like who we understand that it's nature behind all this, clothed as some politicians or so. It's not really clear and open to everyone how this is happening, but Europe is totally changing. The U.S. is changing. Different places around the world, like nature, you can call it Soros, you can call it whoever you want. It doesn't matter. It is happening. And these ideas and plans arose in people to architect these things and make them work. Humanity is now being squeezed together, like
Yes.
mingled together again,
Like pushed
at a
and pushed and
rapid
pushed, yeah.
pace, pushed and pushed and pushed together. Now, they say like
It's not just immigration, by the way. I mean that's an obvious, that's an obvious example.
Yeah,
But I mean,
guys,
technology
if we don't understand, if we can't feel on us why this is happening and why it should happen, we don't stand a chance of understanding the correct response to it.
open it up.
Yeah, I mean, this is supposed to be happening, but we have to know that it's inevitable, that it's designed in order to make us make the kinds of inner changes that create
People are very scared about what's happening. It's very
well, let me
chaotic.
finish.
It's very dangerous. Okay.
Of course we're afraid because we don't understand what our response should be to it. The mixture of responses go from self-protection, makes sense, yes, and openness, makes sense, yes, but when and to what degree and to what end? Because what we're unable to feel is the place that this is going, the good place that it's going. We can clearly see the bad place that it's going. And none of those things can be sorted out unless we understand that it is following nature's law that this should occur, that we should be globalized in some sense, not in the sense that it's happening and not with the ignorant direction that it's being given, but according to how the law of nature wants to evolve us. That means I need experience of what a complete integration with other people is and what's required of me in my heart, and then out of that, how would we together create a kind of governance that can include and manage this so that it doesn't destroy but enhances. That means you've got to know the law of nature, and you've got to know this law in relation to human society. We can't, from the place of blindness and ignorance that we're at now, assume that political theories or psychological theories or any of those things are adequate to deal with it. We already see it's not. only the spiritual level, that is the connection to the thing that, as you said, that is propelling this. If we can understand nature's heart, because we are already arranging ourselves in that way, then we know what to do and what not to do as this change that it's foisting on us to help us is occurring. It takes practice. It's practical. And if it just remains in the area of ideas, we will fail. Of course, we're not going to fail. It'll just be really painful. But that's why it's important to learn what are these laws that exist between people, and how is it possible to live in the face of the complete interrelatedness of the actuality of nature. This we learn through connection with other people directed at that law.
Right. So
There's
there's
Go ahead,
evolutionary pressure, I would say, that we cannot. It's inevitable. We cannot fight it. We can't. It has to happen, and the mixture between cultures and societies across planet Earth is part of it. But how it happens in a way that is mismanaged and chaotic, and it appears in the form of political, agendas that benefit some people or some billionaires or some parties and so forth. It happens that way because we're not mastering the process. We're not understanding what is that evolutionary pressure, what does it want, what nature wants from us, what is the next degree of human evolution, where is it that we have to be, whether we like it or not. And that's why it's pushed upon us like a painful, chaotic kind of thrust, and we can't go against it, but we can study it, we can understand it, where it's coming from, and then use the network. The network that we've been talking about
We need to
beginning.
develop leaders. We need to develop leaders
who know how to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and are familiar with and live according to this process, and then it's possible to make approaches of governance that are capable of taking into account both a country and the global relationship. And it takes training, and that's what wisdom, what it is. Why we say that this is, Kabbalah is an ancient wisdom. It's like, it's learning what these forces are, how to balance them, and what it means, not in theory, but between humans. So that's what we're trying to do in a miniature way in the retreat is to help people get the type of experience that enables them to be leaders, and not only in the future but even at that moment, because actually the leadership is not something that comes out of the human mind. It comes out of the wisdom that appears between people when they're connecting. Then nature can lead. Up until then, only the fools are leading, the separated fools. But nature works through our integration.
Right. So a leader is really one who can just assist human beings in becoming more open to connecting with each other, so that nature can fill in the blanks and fill in the gaps and do the job. Basically, if you think about it, any intelligence that exists in nature, any knowledge of how to move something forward, of how a biological system, let's say, develops, it exists not in the elements, but in the connection between the elements. That's where the knowledge is, and the wisdom is, and the future
and the
of a
proof
system
of the effectiveness.
Exactly.
And the proof of the effectiveness of that thing, that you see that in science. It's only because you're making a correct connection that you're getting an effect.
Yeah. So what's a leader? A leader is just one who can help facilitate that process. It's not some really sharp, smart, person who knows it all or knows how to do it. No, it's just a person who can help make room for the wisdom of nature to flourish among human beings.
That
That's
person might appear to be very smart, but it's not his or
nice.
hers.
Yeah.
It's because of
It's
because of the people that love and support that person, and his love for the people that he's trying to help fulfill
Yeah.
themselves.
like, and I'm thinking of just like a great people. I was trying to like go through my mind and like normal, that everybody would know. If we use the soccer example, for example, there's a ball, and according to laws of nature, if you strike it with a certain kind of force at a certain kind of angle, it moves. So nature is like arranged everything. You just need to like do something according to all the rules of nature. Same thing with like an instrument. Say you're playing guitar. If you a string of this gauge, if it's struck, it will hit the air and make a sound. So all the musician is doing is revealing all of these things that already exist in the system. Nobody's actually creating anything. All of the things already are in the system. If I hit this string, it's gonna, something's gonna happen the way it hits me. And if I hit the other string, if I hit them at the same time, it's gonna create this harmony that already exists. I'm just activating it.
That's really cool, Seth, because I can't remember exactly their words and who said it, but I read one of those articles about what's happening with AI. I'm kind of following that to some extent, and some of what these AI experts are talking about sounds like it's like they're saying things like, "Oh, we just discovered this thing." You know what I mean? Like when like the example you just said, you struck a chord or a string, and then all the rest just happens. You just exposed it, right? There is some harmony or something that works in nature, and you just exposed it, you revealed it, you uncovered it. And it's interesting that the AI researchers are saying that in many ways, when they deal with neural networks, they find that they just change some configuration and then this thing just works. They don't actually know how it works. This is something that is very common knowledge. If you research, Google a little bit about what AI experts are saying, it's like a black box. They understand how to build it, but they don't exactly know what happens inside to generate the output.
So let's take
really
that,
cool.
yeah. And this is how a small gathering of people on a weekend, working according to that principle, can have a profound effect on the world as a whole. Because it's not that you're measuring it by, well, there's 150 people here and there's maybe another 200 people connected virtually, and that's it. So how can that's nothing. No, that's not nothing. The interactions based on the correct use of that neural, let's say, heart network, spiritual network, and by using it according to its terms, allow for the production of things we could not imagine, good, and the intensity of influence we can't imagine, because what we're tapping into there is the source out of which all events come. And it's not just information. This is these are real things between people, and they're felt, by, I don't know even how to measure it, but it's felt throughout the system. It is felt throughout the system because it's a certain alignment, aligned with something that wants to come through, that allows it to come through into the general system, and it only takes a small number of interactions in order to produce that thing we couldn't have imagined in terms of its confidence, goodness, and our need for it.
Yeah, so
words
it's like
hard. Words are hard.
they are, but I think the spirit of it. I think it's possible to communicate the spirit of it. We are. I mean, the words of the Kabbalists are so they can sound poetic, and sometimes they're archaic and so forth, but they literally say things like that by connection, by unity, we open the gates of abundance, things like that. It's language that may sound, fluffy, airy, but no, what they were talking about is exactly that.
Our problem is we don't truly understand what connection means. We imagine it in its external aspect, a bunch of people together and so on. But also learning what we're trying to connect within us and the other person, or between us and the other person, is not something we've ever learned. It's not like maybe you can intuit and you can begin to feel those things when you listen to a beautiful song that whose writer, despite himself, has allowed something to come through, and a truth will come through, and it'll carry you and move you, and you'll feel something about connection and love. The magnification that happens when you take the Kabbalistic principles in which these things are revealed and you apply them practically in working with other people in a pleasant situation that is like in the structure that nature wants, and is also like, just like a human village or something, for a short period of time. This is really different when you're learning what connection actually means, and you can see its product immediately, because the change that happens in a person, it's like measurable. You feel it. Things that would block a person, that make them afraid to give or to do the right, or even feel something or share something or allow themselves to feel good, and to all of those things that block the pleasure and fulfillment of life are only blocked by a lack of understanding of what connection is, and what part of me is trying to connect to what part of you, and what happens when we do that. So when you get exposed to that, that's way more, I've got to say, as an artist, it's way more than art. Way more.
One of the things that I keep hearing from students who participate in our retreats is something like, the words change, but it's something to the effect of, I felt carried by something. I felt like there's a discovery of a force that was there all along. There's a contact that's being made in your heart with a force that just allows you to suddenly think above yourself, be higher than what you are, higher than yourself, something like that. This is something that people tend to feel.
Our teacher, the Kabbalist Rav Lightman, is like from another. I don't even if we can call him human. The just who he is and what he's done for humanity, and he's connected to his teacher Rabash, who for sure it's like from another dimension of reality. But when they were together, it was clear by looking at them, like they dressed different than just regular people on the street. Their mannerisms in some way seemed different. What's so, still to this day, after knowing you guys for close to 20 years, what's so like still strange to me is we're all like normal looking. Like we don't get any turbans, we don't get any big white beards, we don't get anything, and we tell dirty jokes, and we all are normal, like regular people. And this is also something that's like hard, because when I used to go to like even to a yoga retreat, and not talking about spiritual attainment, but when you wear special clothes and robes and have incense burning all day long, and the ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, the breeze coming out, you feel spiritual. You feel something happening. When we all get together on the way that nature is arranging this for humanity in our generation, it's like it's moving into the people in such a normal way that
Yeah.
still I'm like taken aback by it regularly, because you feel like, am I just in, like, on the one hand, the things you're discussing are the most deep, most needed things in all of
Right. Am I
humanity.
a schmuck or am I a saint? You are both, right?
Nice.
Right? Isn't it like also something like we're not, our students come and we're not wearing special
I
guru
do think
robes and stuff.
I think this is
And
just
maybe if there's in the budget, we can get guru robes for this one, so that at least we can, people respect us when they get there.
No,
No, but
seriously though, I think the world is moving from external to internal. Not yet. Not that I'm not giving everyone the credit that they're already there. But I think gradually we're losing the importance of externalities, and people are looking to feel and to be. And I think the precursor to that transition towards exploring our inner world is exactly the fact that everything is becoming so pompous and so externally, in our time, like everything is like just bigger, stronger, the movies, the whole, it's just, and we're fed up with it. We're close to just like, okay, it's not there. It's not somewhere out there. It's not in how we look. It's not in how we dress. It's not in how big the movie scene is, or how big the audience is. It's in the inner world where we have to find how we're connected, and how that brings us all of the joy and all of the abundance in the world, and the wisdom to fix the world. It's all
Yep.
inside. Yeah.
Well, if there's no more
That's-
disagreement, then I declare the world closed. Everybody fly away.
I want to hit you with a quote, but I have it in front of me, but I need a couple seconds to find, because it's a long one. I just need to find like the short bit of it. So Seth, if you can stall for for a few seconds.
Your mic is off. Well, that's a good stall.
This is something that I wonder how much it is a stumbling block for students, and actually how much it is just another proof of the authenticity of what we're doing. That we don't, not our teacher is our teacher, but all of us who are now taking what we learned from our teacher and passing it to the next generation of students, there's no pretension around us.
Oh, I don't know. Look, it is. It can be a stumbling block for people. It's supposed to be something special and set aside, but it is for everyone, and it is a different.
Doesn't bother you when Leo's wearing a T-shirt and a baseball hat and he's talking about the highest things in the world, that you don't say there's what's going on here?
No, I actually no. I feel like
Me neither, but I wonder if it affects the students who are coming to us.
well, it could, but
It might.
it's the thing that everybody wants, is that the the hidden sort of spiritual aspect, the deepest, most profound aspects of life become accessible, and you just feel it. You see it, you feel it, and you see a different world. Does that mean it gets dressed in a costume? I don't think so. I think it just is that now our sense of reality has changed, and we all have access to this thing that in the past only special people had. But you got to learn it, and practice it.
I got a quote. You ready for this? Okay, so I feel it kind of summarizes well a bunch of what we talked about. So this is Baal HaSulam. the great Kabbalist of the previous century, who was also the teacher of our teacher's teacher. There's a whole Kabbalistic lineage that he embodies. So he wrote this in one of his letters to his students: "You lack nothing but to go out to a field and collect all those organs that have drooped from your soul, and join them into a single body. And in that complete body, the Creator will instill His Shekhinah incessantly. And the fountain of intelligence and high streams of light will be as a never-ending fountain." Some of the words here are, maybe unexplainable, but the spirit of it, yeah. So that's all we need, really.
Thank you, Tony, so much for joining us. Asaf, if you can post the link again for the retreat, this is what we're working towards.
And there's still a chance if someone is considering coming, and you still have an opportunity to register. It's next week, so yeah.
Can you post that link in?
Put the link in the chat now.
YouTube chat. Okay, thank you everybody again, Tony. Big hug. So next Thursday we will not be here because we'll be on our way there, right?
Yeah.
That's correct. And also the week after that, we have an even bigger gathering, the global Kabbalah gathering that's taking place. So we're not going to be here in the Great Transition for the next 2 weeks. Yep. And we'll be here in 3 weeks.
2 weeks, and then we'll be back 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you there. Big hugs, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. It was great.
All right. We can also listen to a song. You hear it? Okay. Cool.